Welcome back. Be humane. I want to start now to get into specific topics and start to explore the human mind and how we look at things and how we interpret things and how we see the world. And what I want to talk about now is something I learned about a little while ago and explains a lot. And hopefully we can this will shed some light on how people view other races and how you interpret their life and what they do. So this is about cognitive dissonance, and I'll just kind of read the technical definition here, and then I'll begin to kind of explain it. But cognitive dissonance is the mental stress or discomfort experienced by an individual who holds two or more contradictory beliefs, ideas, or values at the same time, performs an action that is contradictory to one or more beliefs, ideas, or values, or is confronted by new information that conflicts with the existing beliefs, ideas, or values. Okay, so it's just in a nutshell contradicting yourself in how you view people. How can you love your brother, sister, a friend, uh, you know, and treat another human being like crap, you know, because they're all human. But why is it okay to treat these humans good and these humans bad? So you have to tell yourself something in your mind that makes it okay for you to do that. And that's cognitive dissonance. And so, what I want to shed light on here is how I believe, from my own personal experience, how white people view and talk about other races. And now, before anybody, calls me racist or whatever you want to call me, my wife is white. Okay. Love my wife, love my in laws, love white people. You get along with some, you don't get along with others. Um, you know, that's that. So, what I want to do is jump back to slavery. And this is where I think you begin. You can probably even go back further to, the American Indians or the Indians. But I'm going to focus on slavery. Um, most people, I would assume you understand what slavery is and how it took place with African Americans. So basically, the white people that went and captured the black people and brought them from, wherever they brought them from, Africa and other places in the world, and brought them to the United States to work as slaves. They told themselves that they weren't people, they weren't human. They told themselves that they were animals, monkeys. They told themselves that they were stupid. They didn't have a brain. They told themselves whatever they had to tell themselves that allowed them to do what they did and be as inhumane as they were. Sold them as property. Raped them, cut off body parts. Split their families up, took mothers from their children, broke up families. Made them work until they died. They all the things that were done, to them, murdered them, killed them. How could somebody do that to a human and then go home and eat dinner and be like nothing's happened? And I think that was where the cognitive dissonance came in, and it's like they're not human, so it's okay. We treat animals that way, so we can treat them that way because they're not human. Okay, even though we obviously look like everybody else on the planet: two eyes, ears, nose, mouth, all of that. So that's how I think that's how that took place. I'm sure there was other things involved, but I think that was kind of at the bottom of it. Greed obviously driving a lot of that behavior, if not all of it, money and profit. So you hear that and you would be like, okay, that happened. That was a long time ago. It's over. No. What happened next was when black people got their rights and we were now free. Then the cognitive dissonance doesn't go away, it transforms and then became criminals, call black people criminals, crooks, arresting them on the streets for looking at white women the wrong way, for doing anything that they didn't like. Okay, now they're criminals. They've broken the law. They created laws to keep black people in whatever place they wanted, in society. So now they're like, okay, they've now broken the law. So now they're criminals. Now we can treat them how we want to treat them again. We treat them however we want. We can now, put them in jail. We can hang them. We can continue to be inhumane towards them because we've now shifted the cognitive dissonance to another form. And so like I said, it still happens today. And again, the reason I'm talking about this is not to point fingers, not to demonize, not to accuse, to educate. Because I believe a lot of people are going to be doing this and do this currently in their lives and they don't even understand or know what they're doing. Okay? So, what I want to talk about now is how it's evolved into life today. And what I'll do is just name, some examples and begin to point out, the differences, and then I'll go into more discussion about each kind of individual topic a little bit later. But for example, remember Hurricane Katrina. If you can go back and look at the news reports for Hurricane Katrina, and the images and the news and the video and all that, when they showed black people for the most part, when they were, you know, in the water carrying, stuff from stores, food, supplies, whatever it is they took in order to survive, they were called looters in the news. Look at the looters. Look at the looters. And then when they would show the white people in the exact same situation, I think they were referring to them as survivors. They're doing what they have to do to get by and survive. They're surviving. They're doing the same thing. It's just all in how you choose to view it. And with that, the country, I think, didn't really care a whole lot about what was happening with Katrina, as far as I can remember, until Kanye West got on TV and called out President Bush for saying he doesn't like black people. And then got everybody's attention, and they're letting this whole city die. And then they were the rest of the government and resources began to funnel in, but by then it was too late because they had already thrown everybody away, and I can't tell you how many people died. You also see it with Muslims. You hear a lot of that in the news. Instead of looking at them as people, you'll get the media and white people referring to them as Muslims, terrorists, get rid of them, you know, uh, refugees even, and you forget to look at the fact that they're human, they're people, and you can't judge an entire group of people by the acts of one or a few. It's not fair. So you see that Muslims, terrorists, calling them what they're not, and then people in the media begin to say it's okay to not let them in the country. Syrians, it's okay to not let them in because they're bad. We can treat them however we want and not save their life because they're Muslims, they're terrorists. So you've now disconnected from the humanity of it. And you're telling yourself that whatever you need to tell yourself that allows you to treat them that way. And this isn't exclusive to white people. I've heard this from all kind of people, all races and colors. Um, Mexicans, you got a lot of this coming from um, Republicans, from as far as I know. Republicans and Donald Trump, you know, build a wall. Don't let the brown people in. They're stealing our jobs. They're doing this or doing that. They're crooks, criminals. I'm sure a few Mexicans have done some bad things, as have a few bad white people, black people, you name it. So I'm actually shocked at some of the rhetoric because it's like build a wall. I'm like, this is now like active racism and, trying to make it policy. Okay. We've seen that before with Hitler. Okay. No. So keep the Mexicans out because they're bad and forgetting to look at the human side of it. Um, then what I would really want to kind of drive home here is I see a lot of this, in the media and from, white people that I talk to. Um, for example, let's look at Mike Brown. If you remember when Mike Brown got shot, there was a lot of images of him in the media looking like a thug. Got his hat on backwards. They released a video of him in a gas station store, apparently holding it up or strong arming, the owner. We don't really know if that was him, but there was this kind of campaign of he was a bad kid. He he was a thug. He lived a bad lifestyle. So he deserved to get shot. He deserved to get what happened to him because he mouthed the cop and was disrespectful to the cop. He deserved to get shot. And what teenager, that's what teenagers do. So there was this campaign of smearing him to make it look as if he was a bad person. And I'm sure he's done some things in his life that weren't good, and I'm sure he's done good things in his life. But there was active, he's a bad person. So it justifies the shooting. Okay. Trayvon Martin, when he got killed, it was, he had a hoodie up. Maybe he smoked weed or something. I can't remember what it was. He did things that weren't okay in society. He did bad things. He hung around with bad people. So you get a lot of that with the black shootings. when the black kids and the people get shot with when Sandra Bland ended up dead. The video of her, mouthing the cop. That's the only thing that was put out there, and she was rightfully upset. But loud black woman, you know, mouthy, that was put out, and nothing else about her life, just that moment. So I want to contrast that with when you hear about these shootings, these mass shootings. You have the white kids that do the shootings. You have, for example, I'll just say in like Sandy Hook, shooting up the elementary kids. Aurora, Colorado, the guy shot up the movie theater. Charleston, the church shooting. Whenever you have these shootings that these white kids do, the story in the media is is always what went wrong. Let's look into his life and try to figure out what happened to him that caused him to behave that way. Was it the parenting? Was it his friends? Did he not have a girlfriend? Was he not social? There's this exploring of his life to figure out what happened and what did he do or what happened to him in his life to cause him to be that way or to perform that act of mass shooting. So you have, breaks my heart. You have these white kids who kill several people, large numbers of people. And there's this kind of almost empathy for, you know, what happened to them. And then you have the black kids that are murdered and they're shot and they're dead themselves. And they're demonized. What is that? So just think about that. Just think about that. Why aren't we looking into the cops and their records and their behavior? Do they have a record of, you know, abusing their power and, you know, the black kids are dead. They're the victim. If they're mouthing and maybe doing something that the cop doesn't like, does it give them the right to take their life? I can't think of the guy in Cincinnati. Got shot in the head. Cop straight up lied and was like, he tried to run over me or something. Cop tried to open his door, and guy didn't want his door opened. Cop popped him in the head. So I'll hear the arguments as well that, well, they should obey the police and do what they want to do what the cops want them to do. Yes, that's true. But if they offer pushback, isn't the cop the professional? Shouldn't the cop find a way to detain them and not take their life? They have training for that, right? So I say all this to say I just want to get you to start thinking about how you look at other people and how you talk about them and ask yourself, why are you talking about them that way? Are you being humane? Are you being inhumane? Are you being fair in your assessment of them? Or are you not? And how you'll know if you're being fair is if you look at them as a human being. And yes, there's going to be bad ones. There's going to be bad people. But you weed them out. You know, and you hear like the jokes about, when white women get around black men, they clench their purses and that sort of thing. That's happened to me. It's happened to probably every black guy I know. Those are unfortunately bad stereotypes. And I'll end with this. What I usually get from people from white people when they talk to me, they'll say, "You know what, Matt? But you're different. You're not like the other black people. You're different." I'm like, "No, I'm not. You just know me." If you want to learn more about cognitive dissonance, I urge you to listen to Dr. Joy DeGruy. I'll put a link to one of her videos uh, in the description on this video here. But she can talk about it in way more detail than I can. So if you're interested in learning more and educating yourself, please check her out.